A reader asks, how do you keep track of the assumptions that your solution depends upon as the idea evolves? So as we iterate on our solutions, as the idea evolves over its lifetime, how are we keeping our assumptions up to date? How do we make sure that we're always testing the riskiest assumptions? So one of the things that we teach in our continuous discovery habits framework is when you choose a target opportunity, we want you working with multiple solutions, comparing and contrasting them against each other. We have people story map their solutions, so just a journey map of what the customer has to do to get value from the solution. And then we use that story map to generate assumptions. We also teach a variety of other exercises to generate assumptions. We do a data audit. We do an ideal customer profile exercise. We do a business viability exercise. We do pre-mortems. There's lots of ways to generate assumptions. I think the heart of this question is those things can always change. Like as we learn, we might change our ideal customer profile. How do we revise and evolve our assumptions? Or as we do some prototype testing, we change the flow of the solution. Do we remember to go back and update our story map? I think a lot of this is going to depend on the maturity of your team. So if your team is new to discovery and a lot of these exercises and steps are new to you, then I'd be really explicit about keeping your workspace up to date. So what do I mean by workspace? If you're working out of a Miro board or a Mural board, and that's where your story maps are and your assumptions are, then I think as you make team decisions, you want to make sure those get reflected in that workspace so that you are taking the time to think through, based on this change, are there new assumptions we need to consider? Do they carry risk? Do they carry more risk than what we're currently testing? And the reason why I recommend that, especially if you're new to a lot of these habits, you're making what's in your head explicit. So everybody on the team can look at it and evaluate it and make suggestions about where there might be risk and what your next steps might be. Now, as your team matures, you're making changes and you're evolving an idea on the fly. Do you always need to go back and make sure your story map exactly reflects those changes? Not necessarily. One of the things that we teach is that a lot of these exercises are scaffolding. They're helping you build skill. But once you have that skill, you don't need the scaffolding anymore. So if your team is able to move quickly and evolve an idea and you're continuing to test assumptions, but you're not documenting it as you go, as long as that's working for your team, I think that's fine. Now, how do you know if it's working for your team? One of the things I like to have teams do is in their retrospectives, ask a couple of reflective questions of what did we learn this week that surprised us and how could we have learned it sooner? And what this does is it helps us expose gaps in our discovery work. If you're constantly exposing gaps to your discovery work, even if you're a mature team, I want you to go back and start to reintroduce some of that scaffolding because it means you're missing steps. So there's not really like one right answer to this question. The most important thing is you need to experiment and see what works best for your team. And then know at different moments in time, you might have to take a step back or take a step forward. And that's perfectly normal and to be expected. I'm curious for folks listening, what are you doing to keep track of your assumptions as they evolve? Does your team have a workspace like in Miro or Mural? Do you document it in something like Jira or Confluence? And then how often are you revisiting that? I would love to hear just sort of how are people operationalizing this? What does this work for you? How does this work for you? And then for those of you where a lot of this introduced a lot of new ideas and you just want to get up to speed on assumption testing, be sure to check out the linked article.